get it. Real Talk with Carl and Charlene. Real talk for the real world. Let's get it.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome again. Welcome to another fly edition of Real Talk with Carl and Charlene. It is Thursday, guys. The weekend is almost here. It's pre-Friday, but we want to welcome you in wherever you're tuning in from. You know how we do always. We are a global show, so drop in the comments where you're tuning in from. Also, drop in the comments where questions you have, your perspective, your thoughts. Let us know how we doing. Also, jump in and have this discussion with us today because we're talking about a topic that I know you all want to know about. And also, we're not leaving you out, guys. You guys are hashtag replay. We want you to drop in as well. We do go back and read the comments. We do go back and engage, and we do go back and look at your questions, answer them as well, and engage with you on that end. So we don't leave you guys out. We can't do it without you guys, and we love the support that you guys continually give us. But of course, you know me, I don't do this by myself. I'm just the one that always do the intro. But I got to bring my hostess with the mostest saying, come on, Charlene, it's Thursday. What's up?
What's going on,
What's going
everybody? Good
on?
morning.
Good morning. Like the school teacher, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, as I'm trying to get my cat Shadow off my knee with his
Oh,
claws.
Shadow, what's up,
My
homie? What's
brother,
up?
Lord, he doing his own thing right now.
Hey,
Okay.
yeah, Shadow's in his own little world. Shadow's in his own world. He do his own thing.
Always,
All
always.
day.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Please drop in where you coming from.
Yes, drop in where
And
you tuning in
we
from.
love y'all. Carl has a story that I'm gonna let him jump into before we get into our sponsors about why
Yeah.
we do this, and it keeps us motivated, keeps us going. Carl, let the folks know. Don't
Yes. I'm
forget
gonna
no
give
last
y'all.
names to
I'm
protect the innocent.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, I ain't gonna say his last name to protect that and say no, but I had to make a run last night to a certain airport that was near me. And as I was there picking up some family members, I was waiting at the line for the luggage. You know that checkout line, trying to get your luggage, the baggage claim, and all that. And I had someone walk up to me and tap me on the shoulder. Now, bear in mind, now you know that's the airport. What's going on? You know, flights. I don't know nobody out there like that. You know what I mean? So of course I got that trepidation in the beginning. And this gentleman said, "Yo, you're Carl Shawn Watkins, right?" And I said, "Yeah, yes." Answer slowly, right? And that's because I'm seeing this gentleman here with his backpack, getting a little nervous, but and I ain't see no badges, and I know I wasn't in trouble. But anyway, he told me that he watches the show from a certain area. I'm not gonna tell his area because he kind of secretive where he works at, but he watches the show every day in part of his job and working, and it was just phenomenal. The emotions that just came over, brother, from just seeing how we're touching people. Even I can't imagine when we start doing these appearances and getting out. Cause we going on TV, y'all. Y'all just wait for it. Just wait for it. I'm telling you right now. But I just imagine the what he was, and this is to actually see someone who watches your shows and tells you that what you're doing is making a difference and keep on grinding. Because we're talking about it today, leadership above the grind. Somewhere, somehow, you got to make the difference where people want to be involved with you. And we're not doing anything special. We're just being special. Just being who we are, giving what we have, sharing who we know, and presenting it to you guys. And in that, I was just so taken aback. I went from everything to like nervous to like want to shed a tear. Because can you imagine somewhere like that, you meet someone and they say, I know who you are because I've seen you on LinkedIn? Man, it was an amazing feeling. So he did send a shout out to Charlene and said he loved what we doing. He said, keep on doing it. He's watching in the background. And I'm just going to say his first name, Jeremy. We appreciate you, bro.
Yes, and that's just to go to show you all,
Yes,
everybody. If you're
everybody.
thinking about live streaming, if you live stream, but you don't see a lot of people on at the time, just don't take that as your only level of, okay, this isn't working, I'm not getting anything. it's really about who is seeing you on those replays, who's watching you in that stalker mode. They not stalking you, but they quiet, they listening, they watching. So just be mindful of that. Make sure that what you're doing is really giving that comfort to someone, answering those questions, or just giving people the information that they want to hear. So you never know who's listening. We always say that there's a lot of people who are always listening on the low, on the side, they busy, whatever. Never take it personal. So I love it. So with that, I also want to say how much we love our sponsors. So let's give them a little
Yes.
love. And of course, one sponsor, they come one for two for one. They are Russ and Scott, and they are always doing live business mastermind. That group is an amazing group where you can meet people and really bounce your ideas off of each other. And that's where a lot of times you want to level up and learn, how can I use technology better? Maybe somebody else is doing something with their live streams that I never understood how to do. Or, you just want support, or you just want somebody to encourage you, give you accountability. That's what this live mastermind is about. It's really not about you listening all day. It's about you also being able to voice your opinions and see how that flows. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but everybody gets a chance to just talk and say what works for them. That's the beauty of it. And Carl, I want you to take over and give the next sponsor that we love so much.
Yes, this is my man Martin Pratt, right? And you all don't know Martin Pratt, you're doing Black LinkedIn wrong. You're doing LinkedIn wrong anyway. This is one of the founders of the Black LinkedIn. Go check it out. But now he's published his book, right? The Black Toolbox, right? You want to learn and you want to check out what tools are in there and how you can utilize them. And don't get crossed up by the name. There are tools in there for every single person that reads this book. And not only will you get this book from him, for it to be autographed, and you can also get your personal consultation with the purchase of it, right? So that is something magnificent. Go and get this Black Toolbox, see what is in there about, see what Martin has to say, dive into it, and see what tools in there you can utilize to make yourself better and put yourself in a place where you aren't there yet, but you're trying to get there. The Black Toolbox by Martin Pratt.
And speaking of trying to get yourself to be better, transforming your life is always a part of what we all love to do, especially when we grow. Carl, tell the folks when they work with you how they can get this clarity session so they can
Yeah.
be better.
Yeah, I'm my clarity session format is opening. We going into the fall. I'm opening up like school. So I'm taking on new clients. And I'm telling you right there at the top of my flyer, right? Everything you want is right on the other side of vulnerability. If those places of leadership or wherever you have not been where you are, jump in with me. Let's get this clarity session. Let's clear the air and get rid of the fog and try to figure out what's stopping you from being that next best, right? BeVulnerable.club. Go sign up because me as a coach, consultant, keynote speaker right now, I'm transforming leaders, and that is you. Though it may not be your title, you are a leader, right? I'm empowering you, and I'm truly showing you why everything that you want is on the other side of vulnerability. Go join me today, BeVulnerable.club.
Yes, and as you are learning to be vulnerable, you need to also understand how to use your own platform to voice your vulnerability so people can know how you stand out, why you're the one for them. Book a consultation with me so we can get your website strategy together. BrooklynCustomDesigns.com/strategy. Head on over there, book your consultation today so we can make this happen. And as you guys know, Carl and I, we're working together with two other amazing people, and we have our first summit coming up in September. Carl, tell the folks a little bit about this summit because this is really about leveling yourself up in your business.
Yes, this is it. It's just what it means, just what it's titled, just what it will be. Next level business moves. You may be in your business, you may see some things that you think ain't going right. Well, this is the place where you want to dive into it because we build in our business sustainability for any situation. I know we don't want to say the R word, but all you got to do is check the news. All you got to do is go to the store. All you got to do is drive and get gas. It's already there. But how is your business building up sustainability in these times we're in? We got right there on the screen four amazing experts in their fields of business and business acumen, right? 90 plus years right there sitting before you. So go register today, nextlevelbusinessmoves.com. register for the September 24th show that we're going to do. It's going to be virtual, it's going to be online. Bring your business plans because I want to tell you this as a little inside secret. We're going to be delving in for those that's in the VIP. I admonish you, if you got a business, sign up for the VIP because we're going to take some strategies through the four of us, and we're going to give you some dynamic plays that you can move your business forward. Just you, tailored to you in that VIP session. Man, what a plan that is. You can't go nowhere on no stage right now and get 90 years of expertise. Nowhere. I've already looked it up. So go nextlevelbusinessmoves.com.
Y'all know he do his research. So as we are leveling up and we talk about leadership, that's why we have our amazing guest Rhonda on today, because we need to understand how to do leadership above the grind. Because a lot of times people have leadership all wrong. They doing it in a different way, or they just have their own insight, or they're using old tactics and old practices and trying to force you into that mindset. But there's room to grow. There's room to be different. So we're going to do that conversation and introduce our guest so she can tell y'all more about herself. Good morning, Rhonda.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, C squared. Is that what people call you both?
Now they will.
Now they will. Now they will. We gotta go. We gotta go collect. We gotta go collect the trademark on that now. C squared. Don't check it.
I like that.
Absolutely. It's so
Yes.
good to be here. Thank you both for having me.
Awesome. Awesome. It's great to have you. Look, I've read your stuff. I don't just jump on nobody or ask somebody to be on my show without doing some homework. And I have to see some mileage, right? And that mileage is all good things because that's great things that you've left as a path. And I followed and looked at some of your stuff from just amazing glance through to in-depthness of looking in that term. I said most of the time I create a title for the show, kind of like play off of words, right? But when I read your stuff and saw your videos and saw what you do and see the impact that you're making, I made that the premise of this show title wise because it is exactly what you're doing. You are showing leadership above the grind. So I want you to kind of get into a little bit of that. Tell us about you first off. Tell us about your passion, but also share how did you come about with this leadership above the grind and how's that been ingrained in who you are as a leader?
Yeah, so thank you again for having me. I am really excited to be here and to
Awesome.
share something that I am extremely passionate about, which is leadership above the grind. So I have this sort of weird pathway that was taking a lots of twists and turns. I'm a registered nurse by background. I was sharing with you all that I am originally from Philadelphia, although I live in Texas today. So you went to Philadelphia and did not get me a Philly cheesesteak, but okay, we'll talk about
I'm sorry.
we will talk about that later, Mr. Carl. We have to talk about that. So I have three amazing sons, all adults right now. And as I was young in my career and I went into nursing, I started putting my head down and doing the work. Nursing is a tough field, but it's also a really impactful one, very important when you are caring for people who are at their most vulnerable state and they're not able to care for themselves. So that gave me an opportunity to see a whole different side of myself, really being able to support and lift and really help people through that journey. So I was in my nursing days and I started sort of climbing up the ladder little by little. It wasn't even intentional at the time. I was just doing the work. I was excited and people were seeing things in me that at the time I really didn't even see myself. So fast forward through the journey, I became a chief nursing officer of the organization, which was a big role for me. It was my first time in having a leadership role of that magnitude. Incredibly grateful that people thought that I had the skill set to be able to do that. So that gave me an opportunity to really start to cut my teeth a bit in this whole leadership world. So what did I do? I put my head down and I worked. I was like, okay, y'all, let's get it, right? Because that's all I know is to put my head down and work, 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 work. So I did that. The reward in that came when I was promoted to hospital CEO, right? But once again, head down, work, 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 right? That's all I knew. That's what I knew how to get it done. I didn't have anyone named Rhonda behind me saying, here is a better way. This is a different way. You can still be impactful and successful and not wear yourself out. At some point, it all came crashing down. Everything flamed up. I was in the middle of a divorce and I lost my job, and everything just fell apart for me after working for nearly 20 years and building this stellar career. So as that happened, it really caused me to step back and to reflect on that past 10 years of that work, right? What was the outcome of that? How did that impact me? And at that moment, I remember saying to myself, there's got to be a different way. There has to be a better way. I will never go back into this space where work is the only thing in my world. I'm not ever going to do that again. I look back today, excuse me, and I have regrets on missing important events with my three sons, and as they were playing basketball and football and all of those things. And I thought, okay, so how do I do this, the thing that I love, but do it differently? How do I do that, this, so the thing that I love fulfills me and inspires me and really helps lift me? And so I began putting the pieces on this work. It was many years of evolution and understanding and research and emotional intelligence learning, and building the foundation that is now leadership above the grind, and then taking that a step further, the Leadership Mentoring and Coaching Academy. So it was a journey. So my personal experience with being in the grind helped me become incredibly passionate about saying to leaders, there's a different way. You don't have to do it that way. And then today, in 2022, it is essential that leaders lead differently.
Yes, I agree, because so many times as leaders, or those who have higher leadership above us, we just see the whole directives of do, and it kind of conflicts with the mouth, and I call it lip service of, hey, we care about you, so you need to take it easy, while they're piling the work on, or while they're piling the demands on. And then when you look around, they're not even in the office. That's something else. Like, so they're not even leading through example, they're just leading through mouth and words, and oh, this is what we heard we should say, or this is what this is the catchphrases we need to be using, so you can think we're all together as one, as a family. There's no such thing anymore, or that the feeling is there that there's no such thing anymore as a work family. So how can leaders really start to step up and have their actions match their words, stop over stressing their employees? Because it's almost like we're going backwards. All the momentum that people felt like they were gaining because of the pandemic, now we're going into 2023. It's almost like we're just gearing back up to go back to where we were, going backwards. How can leaders really have their actions match their words?
Such an important question, Charlene. And I always say that it begins like any anonymous program, Alcohol Anonymous, and not Shopping Anonymous, whatever that is, right? The very first step is awareness. If you lack awareness in yourself, if your organization lacks awareness, because they have awareness too. There's awareness at multiple levels. Self-awareness, there's organizational awareness. So from a leadership perspective, do you get it? Are you hearing your people? Are you understanding what they're seeing and feeling and dealing with every single day? Without that awareness, you're just going to keep on doing, right? You're just going to keep bringing the task, a new initiative, a new this, a new that. I was talking to a CEO probably about 3 months ago, and they were running down this list of priorities that they were really excited about. Well, we're doing this, and we have this, and we have this. And all I kept thinking was, time out. How is this affecting your people? Right? Are you giving them a chance to take a breath? Because what you're going to find is that one thing that you implement and move on to the next thing is not rooted. It's not grounded. People are just trying to survive. And if your leaders are trying to survive, your bottom line is probably not doing too well.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Right?
That
it's a
part.
lot of it's a lot of truth in that, and I think the overwhelm, and I tell people time and time again, right? And I hate to be sounding like a broken record, but truth is what it is, and you can't change truth. Uh, The reset was pushed with the pandemic. The reset button was pushed, and it gave all of us an opportunity to reprioritize not only the things we've been doing, but how we are living, what is important. Like, I can't say that enough, because that's the structure that caught my eye when the world gets shut down. You can't even go to your corner spot to get a slice of pizza. Like, that's to the gravity of where we was just a couple years ago. Now, I hear all of these inflections of conversations. Don't get me wrong, I was one time being in the house as well. But I hear all these influx of conversations, especially in the workplace and corporate place. I'm ready to get back to normal. Well, my mind tells me the life I was living before the pandemic wasn't normal. Like, me being in a car, or some moms that I've coached, and some clients that I have, they running from here to there, Chick-fil-A in the car, taking soccer practice. Nobody's at home. We get up in the morning, everybody's gone, come back, it's dark. We leave. How is that, as my grandma used to say, another grandmaism, how's that rigmarole that you doing making any sense? And how are you putting that in the aspect of normal? In the workplace, Charlene hit it on the head. They're continuously to pile on these things, and even though they're talking about, we're going to work on hybrid, and we're working. This is my frustration now, because I'm going through this with my employer. We're going to work on hybrid, and we're going to work on this, and we're not going to bring you too much. How, are they really listening? I guess that's the key question I want to hear, because a lot of things we've come to the symmetry of. 9/11 came, the catastrophe of that. Everybody wanted to pray. Let's pray. Let's hold hands. Let's sing. We all together. Like, a few years that wore off, except for the ones, God, that rest in peace, lost loved ones. They still carrying that burden. But the rest of the place, like, 9/11 happened. Yeah, I know it's September coming up, but I got to move on. Are we trying to do that too quickly without really delving into the leadership realm of where they got it wrong all the time, into a place where you got a chance to reset it, and you're still going back to the same habits?
Yeah. So the question that comes to mind for me is, are you living or are you remembering? Right? Are you stuck in the past? Right? Where are you? Because we only have today. Right? So going back to what? You're right here, right now. So how about we take a moment and make right here, right now as good as it can be? That's not possible without listening. And listening is an undervalued skill. Okay. Listening is an undervalued skill. Just because you hear doesn't mean you're listening. Those are two different things. So, are you listening? And then, if you're listening, are you really listening to understand what people are feeling and expressing? Or are you listening to give your comeback? Are you listening to explain why things are the way they are? Are you listening to justify? Or are you listening to help collaborate on making a better workplace? Those are different things. And I will say, in a leader's defense, most leaders, just like me, are not taught how to listen. They're not taught how to lead. We teach leaders how to do their job, i.e., you got to get this report done, you got to do this budget, you got to do this, you got to do that. We teach leaders tasks. We don't teach leaders how to lead. So no wonder we have workplaces that are not inclusive, that are toxic, that have attrition rates through the roof. What else would we expect? Leadership is not this intuitive thing. It is a skill set, right? Leadership is a set of skills that needs to be nurtured and developed and grown and infused and expanded. That's what leadership is. And that's how you get to be a great leader. No one goes to sleep one day, gets promoted, and wakes up and goes, "Boof, I'm a great leader. I got this new job. And yes, now I'm a great leader." No, you're not. I promise you, you're not. Right? Because that's not how it works. And that's not, I am not, this is not a judgment. This is simply a fact. Leadership requires growth, evolution, and an infusion of being able to spend the time to expand your awareness in your world. So
Yes.
that's what I think of when I think about where we are today, why people are trying to go back to something. They're only trying to go back to the familiar. They're not trying to return to the better.
Say word on that one, because it's true. Like, you're familiar with something doesn't mean it's good. And we always were fighting that. Those who wanted to evolve in the workspace, who wanted to really make a difference, were always fighting with those who were comfortable with the status quo or comfortable with what they were doing. So it's the same thing in leadership. And I love that you brought that up, because when you are in leadership, and you can't get past your comfort zone, are you benefiting the company or are you hurting it? Because that's when you start losing those employees that are really innovative, that are really there to help you, because you just don't want to change. Right. So as a leader, and what's the grind? How can we as leaders, because anybody can be a leader in whatever particular role you're in, but how can we as leaders now get above that grind, get up and look beyond that, so we can really start building and improving on what we're doing?
Well, Charlene, I encourage leaders to pursue stress-free leadership, right? Leaders want to fight me on this one. They're like, well, leadership is all about stress. Of course we have to be stressed. That's what leadership is. No, it's not. It's not, right? That's what we've been taught. That's what we've been conditioned to believe. That's not what my leadership is like, because I refuse to have it be that, right? I'm at a point now where I understand the choices that I make every single day impact my level of stress. So I focus on stress free leadership. And that's how you get above the grind. First of all, let's talk about the grind, because the grind is awful. I don't know where this term came from. I'm on my grind and what? Do you know the definition of grind? It means you are literally pulverizing yourself into a fine powder, right? Who wants to be on? I don't want to be there. And so, first of all, we have to be aware that we are on the grind or in the grind. And then we have to choose something different. And when you choose something different, then you can begin to paint the pathway of the future. What does it look like? What does your day or life look like if you're not on the grind? Right? You're still going to work every day. This is not about not having a difficult job or angry boss or irritable boss, or forget all of that. All of those things are outside of you, i.e., you can do nothing about them. Right? You can't control your crazy boss or whoever that person might be that's giving you the pebble in your shoe, but you can control you. So, what can you do? You can get some clarity about what the. So, I'm going to give you 5 C's. I'll give you, all right, everyone out there, I'm going to let you in on a little secret, right? My 5 C's to stress free. Because the journey and the roadmap is really not as difficult as we think it is to become a stress free leader. Okay. The first C is clarity. Who are you? What do you want? What does it look like when you get there? Right? That's not as easy as it sounds. When I talk to leaders, they typically tell me what they don't want. They don't tell me what they do want, because we're not really conditioned. When I really deeply ask people, what do you want? They're struggling. They will run off a list of things they don't. Well, I don't want to be stressed. I don't want to be here. I don't want to hear this noise anymore. I don't want all these response. Okay, awesome. What do you want? Let's paint it, right? Let's call it out. The second C, once you go through the process of deciding what you want and where you're going and what that looks like, then we need to build your confidence. I say confidence is an internal renewable resource, right? It waxes and wanes. It's not always up and it's not always down. Most people don't realize that confidence is actually situational, right? And so confidence is situational. So I know leadership. You can just give me a cup of coffee and turn it on, and you can wind me up like a little wind up toy, and I will talk leadership all day long. Totally confident in that. If you put me in a room of scientists and say, Rhonda, talk about nuclear physics, what? Yeah, that's not happening. I have no confidence in that. Now I got butterflies and I'm nervous and I'm sweaty, right? Because confidence is situational. But here's the good news about it. You can leverage your past successes to help you move into the next situation. So I need you to have confidence to be bold, to declare your boundaries, and to really recreate that future, that requires some confidence for you to be able to do that and not be fearful that you're going to lose your job or someone's going to disapprove of what you say. So, confidence. Now, once you build that confidence, we're going to start making choices. That's your third C, right? Because if you continue to do what you do today, you'll continue to get what you're getting right now, right? So I'm going to need you to make some different choices. It's tough. Let me tell you something. We are creatures of habit. We do what we do because we've been doing it for a really long time. But I'm going to need you to make some different choices. I'm going to need you to say no to that project. I'm going to need you to stop picking up the phone after hours. I'm going to need you to stop sitting there staring at your email while you're on vacation because what? Because the world is going to fall apart and your job can't survive if you're not there for a week. Come on. That's really not that's really not the case. And if so, then you need to do some work to make sure that that is not the case, right? And you put some systems in place. So that's the third C. It's really beginning to make the tough choices to make your life different. That's no one's responsibility but yours. The fourth C is communication. Now, people cannot respect boundaries that you don't communicate. I see this all the time in leaders. Leaders are like, well, but they know. They know what? They know what? How would they know? You have to
They
tell
know
them.
better.
Yeah, they know better. They was taught better.
They know I'm off this weekend. They know.
They got
No,
manners.
you need to say, hey, and you know what? That doesn't have to be confrontational. I love this part of it because communication, effective communication, doesn't have to be confrontational. It simply is you sharing something. Now it has to be a dialogue. So you say to them, listen, I've been working really hard and I've really decided that I want to be more present with my family. So after hours and on the weekends, I won't be responding to emails, won't be checking in, won't be responding to text messages. However, as a leader in this organization, I am always here for you. So if there's an urgent situation, please call me and I will respond. Right? That's my signal that it's urgent and it's not some stuff that can wait until Monday. Now, when you have that conversation, guess what the hard part is? Sitting on your hands and not getting on that email and not responding to those texts because they're going to come through. That's okay. You've done your part. But now is the hard part for you, which is you have to honor your own boundaries that you set. You communicated them. If you don't honor them, nobody else will either. And then the final C that we go through is C number 5 is your commitment. Are you truly committed to this change? Are you committed to being a stress free leader? Are you committed to thinking about this differently? Are you committed to doing something differently? Because there's a difference between interest and commitment. Those two are very, very different things. Interest gets the car started, but it will run out of gas without commitment. I need you to be committed. So those are what I call my 5 C's to stress free.
Woo, I hope y'all took notes because that you dropped a whole lot. What the kids say now? You drop bars.
These are bars, man. I'm just
Because
start
I
soaking
just
that
want
in.
to I just want to recap really quickly the 5 C's to leadership because I was typing quick as I could.
Put them in the chat.
Clarity.
Somebody need to know that.
Yes. Y'all need the clarity. You need to build that confidence. You need to start making those choices. Make sure your communication is on point because some people have crappy communication. And of
Mhm.
course, you need to commit to everything you set forth. And that's where I know I struggle a lot is between the communication and commitment because I'll make my communication and then of course somebody come through and I'm like, all right, let me see what I can do. And I'm like, nah, 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 nah. I have to go back to where I used to. There was a saying that I was holding on to for a while, and I need to go back to that where your emergency is not mine. If I
Mhm.
put it out there for you to come to me at a decent amount of time, let's work, let's plan it, let's focus on it, then it gives us both enough time and you can respect my time as well. But if you waited, you procrastinated, and at the last minute you jumping in my inbox, say, and a lot of us see that people coming into your inbox, they're about to go on vacation, they're about to do whatever, so they dropping their load off in your lap via your inbox. It's okay to tell them that's not my issue. It's yours. How long did you have this? When did you know you were going on vacation? All those things come into play. And I remember, I'm not going to say any names, but there was a situation at my corporate job. And one of my peers was like, "Oh, hey guys, I came back from vacation and there was a lot of things and I need help." And real talk, somebody who was closer to her, like, did the same work that she did. She was like, "No, no, you have the issue that you have is time management. So you need to get on that." I just sat back and enjoyed that email. I read that email all day. I'm going to just tell you that. I read that email all day. It brightened my day because it was true. Like, we can't do that. We have to really, I love the 5 C's that you gave, and Carl, thank you for dropping that. And Clara dropped it too.
Yeah,
Y'all need to take those notes because that's something serious. I love it. Thank you for
that
that.
is that those C's is they're awesome. And the thing about it is, right, they're so simplistic for you to follow. You hit the nail on the head. A lot of times we don't have problems with those C's, but that communication piece, that part. Because we as in leaders and understanding that we'll throw it out because we're on that. And I'm glad you covered a lot of things. Man, my mind was just rolling, the cogwheels was rolling up there, especially on this leadership conversation, because of the simple fact as leaders, I get that they was not taught to listen. And that's one attribute that I picked up in leadership, which I really reverence in the essence of who I am as a person, because I listen to what you're talking about, and I listen and taking that in. And of course, they are encompassed with a lot of the other things I talk about as well: the vulnerability, the empathy, all of those kind of things. Draw the listening even deeper because you're really understanding who you're leading. And I go deep into that. You're saying those ones that do that and sit on their hands. And I had to come to a place of that, not being able to respond to everybody's thing. Like everybody's fire ain't your house burning. So in that case, that you're listening and these are for leaders we're talking to today. This is for you. Put yourself through those 5 C's because those could be a checklist for you to continue on growing in leadership above the grind. Because when I heard you say above the grind, I'm like, yes, grind. I don't even like using that term grinding because where do we come off with that? That just leaves me in a
Right.
place of saying, I'm doing too much because it takes a lot to grind something. So when you say you're in the grind, can you really realize on a visual how much you're actually doing and what are you doing? What is it obtaining? What is it giving you? What satisfaction are you getting it? Somebody told me the other day, success don't sleep. I said, mine does. Say mine does, homie. I say mine does. What you talking about? Success don't sleep. Success is sleep. I'm not sitting up worrying about those things that I have no control over. I'm not sitting up changing those things. Man, I'm just loving this. I'm just loving it. If y'all not making them comments in the chat, if y'all not putting y'all questions up there, you're missing a golden opportunity because I know we got leaders out there that wants to know about this. And tell us about some of the things you do because I know you have the women's organization that you're doing and the leadership with them. Share a little bit about those things that you do as well for us, Rhonda.
Yeah, so within Leadership Above the Grind, we do a lot of different things to support
Mm.
leaders, right? So we offer some virtual on-demand content for leaders to be able to consume that. We do leadership mastermind sessions, leadership cohort discussions. We're getting ready to start a new thing that I'll be doing called executive roundtables where we are bringing leaders together to talk about difficult issues and challenges for them. And anybody that wants an invitation to that can just connect with me on LinkedIn, and I will see if I can get you qualified to attend that executive roundtable discussion. I also have the work that I do with, I should be remiss if I didn't mention the Coffee with Rhonda show, right? Which is discussions. It's leadership conversations and discussions and all of those things that we do. Those are the big things that are on my plate right now. And honestly, they're huge because I'm also writing a book, my fifth book, that I'm working on, to really break down above the grind for leaders and help people dismantle it and really understand what it means to be in a grind, how you got in the grind, and more importantly, how you're going to get out of the grind. Right. And so those are the big things that are on my plate right now. I do a lot of traveling and I have an opportunity to just see leadership from so many different angles, and just in how it applies to life. Something, Carl, you said something in your opening. You said you don't have to have a title to be a leader, right? You minimally have to be a leader in your own life, right? Minimally. Otherwise, there's probably a lot happening there if you're not. And so we have so many different ways and places and spaces to show up for ourselves as leaders. I want to talk about something that goes back to what you mentioned, Charlene, about the last minute request. So I'm going to talk about a pain point of mine now, something that really sort of gets under my skin a bit. It goes all over social media where people say no is a whole word, no is a complete sentence. No, it's not. It is only if you don't care about the relationship. It is only if you're not building bridges. It is if I'm being catcalled by the construction worker on the street. Yeah, no is a complete sentence then. But if I'm in a relationship, if I'm working with a colleague, if I'm talking to a leader, no, it's not a complete sentence, right? That's not a relationship builder. So it goes back to communication. Just because you're speaking doesn't mean that you're effectively communicating. Those are two different things. And so we have to be sure that we are elevating our communication so that others get what we want them to get. They receive where we're trying to, they can go where we're trying to take them. And that means we have to be thoughtful about where we're trying to take people with our communication. I can't just say what's on my mind or what's in, or what I'm thinking or what I'm feeling. I always think outcomes based communication. Where am I trying to go with this conversation? What's my ultimate goal and the outcome I'm hoping for? I think that first, and then I decide on the communication that I believe will help me get there. Right? Just speaking to be speaking and, saying things that because, well, this is how I feel and I'm keeping it 100. Don't do that. that keeping it 100 could get you in a lot of trouble because there's a whole lot of things that go through your head that should never come out of your mouth because you cannot take words back. You cannot take words back. You can apologize. You can be forgiven. You can do all of these things. But once those words are out of your mouth, you can't take them back. Show me how you do that.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes. Because no amount of apology does that.
That's, and it doesn't. It does. You did better not saying it. It's like I go to courtrooms. For the most part, I used to go to them every day. Don't as much now with the COVID thing, but I used to hear that all the time from the lawyers. I mean, from the judges say, "Well, you tell a jury, dismiss what you just heard," and you hear the attorney say something to his partner or counterpart. You can't unring the bell. So regardless of whatever you try to paint over or whatever, that hole in the wall is still there. If you ain't, so your amount of I'm sorry, people don't forget, and you can't take that's true, favor. You can't take that word back. So you have to be mindful of the things that you spew out your mouth and the contents that they come out in when you're speaking to people in this leadership spectrum. That we are. I go to the little future tense now where we are with things how they are, and we're not even talk about problems all because we don't even have enough time for that. But things how they are. Do you think leaders, for future reference to what you've been working with and whom the clients have been coming through your academy, do you think leaders are really taking this newness of where we are to heart? Do you think that they're really listening? I know on my sip on the vulnerability, everybody hollering it now, but I don't really know who's genuine. I don't know who's on the bandwagon. I don't know who's just holding signs. I don't know who's just saying I got a black business, don't loot mines. I don't know what the truthness of that. Do you think leaders are really being honest in their growing of learning from their mistakes in the past, from what you've been working with?
So, Carl, what I see right now is I see leaders that are so busy doing that they don't have time for thinking or leading.
Hmm.
I see leaders where I was years ago with their heads down, plowing through, thinking, this is how I get ahead. This shows my value as a leader and as an employee, right? If I'm not doing, I take lunch, I eat lunch at my desk because I'm a good person. I'm a good leader and I don't take time off. No, 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 no. None of those things are true. They're all fake, they're all false, and they're designed to drive you a little bit crazy. They're not really designed to drive you crazy. I just like to throw that in there. They're really designed because people are not taking responsibility for you. You have to do that. Who are you going to leave it up to them to take care of your well-being? Uh, whose job is that, right? And it's not even a bad thing. It's not that they're being malicious or it's not that they're trying to hurt you. They're just doing them. So you need to do you as a leader. I need my leaders to pause. Teach my leaders going through the academy. Stop taking lunch at your desk. For what? Why? Because you'll never get it all done. It's called work, right? It'll be there when you get back from lunch. Take a walk around the block. Stretch your legs. Take a deep breath. And here's the beauty of when leaders do those things. When leaders take care of themselves and their personal well-being, what it says to others is you have the permission to do the same. I was talking to one leader who was sending emails, all over through the weekend and everything else because he's working. Okay, that's cool. That's you, right? If that's what you want to do. And I said, but what about the person on the other side receiving that email? And he said to me, well, I don't intend for them to just jump right on it on Saturday. So I looked at the person at the other end of the table, one of his subordinates. I said, what do you think when you get that email? They say, well, I think I have to respond to this right away. My CEO just sent me an email. Exactly. Right. So you are not being intentional in your leadership when you're firing off emails. What you're saying to your people subliminally is, I need you to all to be working too. I need you to be doing this. You don't. Now, what one leader said to me is, I have recognized that. And I do send emails on the weekends when I'm working because I don't want to forget things. But I now preface it with a statement at the top that says, this can wait until Monday morning. Please enjoy your weekend. That's a leader being thoughtful, right? That's a leader really helping their team know it's okay to be off. It's okay to take your time. So leaders are so busy. They got their heads down. They're working because that's what they've been conditioned to do. And what I see when I talk to them, Carl, they just don't know another way. They haven't been taught that. They don't know leadership above the grind. Listen, I am happy to shout it to the rooftop comes off, right? Because I'm so passionate about. Here's one reason, and we haven't touched on this. One of the reasons I'm so passionate about this in this space and leaders caring for themselves is because I want people to be better leaders. I need you to be a better leader. Workplaces are suffering. Bottom lines are suffering. Teams are frustrated because you can't effectively lead. Why? Because you're too stressed, right? And this is a neurochemical thing. When you have so much stress constantly flooding your body, you cannot possibly be as effective as you want to be, right? It blocks your effectiveness. It shuts down your innovation. It stifles your ability to accept change, right? All of these things begin to happen to you because you're constantly stressed and go, go, go. You think you're fine. Everybody else is looking at you going, oh, she need a vacation. She should take some time off. Look, I'm about sick of are you going anyplace soon? Right? Because everybody else, because you are now in that zone where you're lacking self-awareness. Mm-hmm. And by the way, this is a whole thing. We can do a whole show on self-awareness. So do you realize that most people think that they are self-aware, but they're not?
Everybody do.
Studies show, they did a study of leaders and asked them, are you self-aware? And they're like, oh yeah, sure I am. And then they go to the other side, right? And they talk to the people. Well, it turns out that 4% of male leaders are self-aware and 19% of female leaders are self-aware. People, we're not self-aware, right? And so you're not self-aware until you not only know who you think you are, but you know the impact that you have on others when you show up, right? The two of them together make your self-awareness. So there's so much here for leaders. I say leadership today has to be modernized, updated, and we have to reduce the stress so leaders can rise to the challenges that most organizations are facing what I call a chaos cocktail right now, and leaders are not prepared for it.
Yes, and I love that you mentioned leaders sending emails on a weekend. Yeah, okay. Uh it's like they put all these when they even think about it, they put a lot of technology in place and then don't use it. There's
Right.
something called Outlook, and most email systems have it where you can actually set it up and write out your email and then schedule it to go out at a certain time.
Yeah.
Why didn't you do that? Like it's so it's why have so many people around you that's not helping you use these systems. So yes, if you're that leader that doesn't like to forget things and you want to do something, get it off your plate, schedule it so you're not getting your subordinates or people under you in such a tizzy when they see your email, because some places that's what it's set up to do. It's
Right.
set up to make you feel like as soon as you see a email come in, you have to jump on it. I will never forget, and I'm grateful when I started my corporate journey. They used to put us in leadership courses, and they said you don't have to be a leader to join in. Come to these, and one of them was an email training, and it said take a break. Don't answer all of your emails right away. If something comes in, set scheduled times to look at your emails. And I think we're losing a lot of that. We have to let go of some of these emergencies,
Mhm.
because not everything is an emergency. Everything that jumps in your inbox doesn't have to be read immediately. You don't have to be attached to your phone. I don't have anything work related from corporate on my personal phone. And if I have my business, my web design business on my phone, I schedule it out when I look at it.
Hmm.
That allows me some breathing room. And I think we need to give ourselves that okay. It's okay to take a breather and not look at your email. If you have to take a day off, do so. Put it out there, like you said, communicate that to folks. I'm
Make
taking
that
a
your
whole day
post.
off.
Make that your
Yeah.
post. Put that on. Put that in your reel. Make that your story. Today I'm not fooling with
Yes.
nothing. Make that part of it. Today I'm not answering nothing. I mean, make that. You put everything else on social media, right? Make that a post. Put
Hmm.
that little music behind it so it catch somebody's attention. Today I'm not answering calls with a little bebop music on the back. Put that in there and put them in your stories. And I think we have to share the burden of that. We're talking about the leadership, but we have to talk about the hierarchy in that too. Stop pushing leaders to be these ones that have to feel this obligation to do that. And I had to run the ringer with that with just the connections and networking that I've made since these 3 years of the pandemic. It's people on here when they don't see me or make a post or they don't see me do a what's name, or they used to seeing my stuff on the schedule or a timer. My DMs, my inboxes go crazy. Oh, you all right? Yeah, yeah, I'm all right. I just hit off today on my computer. I didn't let it boot up today. So that's what it is. So we're imperative to be pushing all this, and we're using the technology to aid us to push this. And corporate is study saying, and not even a corporate. I know I bash corporate so bad. They ain't gonna never let me back in, but I'll be okay. They always pushing the envelopes of the hierarchy of those, like that CEO. That's a prime example of the respect we have for those who we're leading. And you don't have those respects because you're not intimate with them in the essence of knowing who you're leading. You don't even know. You're just pushing stuff out there. You're pushing people off bridges. You're pushing people off buildings, literally, because they're trying to keep up with the foolishness that you call work down to them. And I love that. Oh my God, I was sitting there writing as you put that down, like how I'm gonna work this into a post because it's gonna be it's work. It'll be there when you get back. Oh, that part. I love it. I love it. Because some people think
Facts.
like if I'm not there doing it, it ain't gonna get done. Man, they was doing it before they hired you. Gonna be doing it
That
after they
part.
fire you. So it's still there. I'm using that, Rhonda, and I'm gonna hashtag you, right? So make sure you see it. It's work.
That
Absolutely.
part.
What's really important is leadership is simple, but it's not easy.
Yes.
We have to teach our leaders We have to invest in them. We cannot assume that every good person is a good leader. That's not the case. Listen, I could want to have a beer with you or a glass of wine and think you're super cool. That doesn't make you a great leader. So we have to just stop assuming that just because someone is good and they have a decent skill set, technical skill set, that they're a good leader. We are at fault in this as organizations, I believe, because we are not investing in growing our leaders. We're not. We teach them how to do their job. So I was talking with one company about my leadership academy and talking to them about, do you have an effective leadership development program in place? You're promoting people, you're hiring new leaders. What is your leadership development program? And they said, no, yeah, we're good. We've got a pretty good system in place. So as I started breaking it down with them, it was about teaching a leader how to do the task of their job. I'm like, dude, that's not leadership. That's not teaching people how to lead. And I think, unfortunately, people don't understand the difference between the two. You think you're teaching me to do my job is teaching me to be a leader, and that's simply not the case. So leadership is simple, but it's not easy. It is like any other muscle in your body. It requires working and investment. It requires building, and that's how you develop a team of highly effective, impactful, empathic, amazing leaders. You have to invest in them.
Yes, yes. And it's okay to know about your people. Because to tell folks not to ask about how your weekend was, or you don't want to get personal, that removes that human part of being in a workspace. You're working with humans, you're not working with a bunch of robots. And it's okay to ask, how are you doing? What's going on? If you need that time, that's why people have time off and can't
Yeah.
even use it. What's going on? You disconnecting the humans from your business, and that's not good. It's not going to be a good thing. So I love it, Rhonda. Um, Give us a parting words. We're going to give you the last word of the show. And let us know, what's your parting words for us, especially for being leaders above the grind.
Yeah, so this has been a really wonderful conversation. I have enjoyed talking with you both, and I just think you have to stop and assess where your organization is. If you are a leader, you have to just hit the pause button for a minute. Where are you? Number one, how are you feeling and how are you coping? Because that's probably a pretty good indicator. Studies show right now that close to 50% of leaders want to quit. Okay. So where are you? And then where are your people? What's the pebble in their shoe? What are they struggling with? What's making their job hard for them? How's your culture? And be willing to ask yourself the hard questions so that you can get the answers you need to make progress, right? So again, the first step is awareness. Figure out where you are. And then what are you going to do different? If you do the same thing today that you've been doing, you're going to get the same result tomorrow. If that's what you want and you're good, cool, keep going. If you want something different, you've got to do something different for your people, right? And have them do it with you. All get in it together and decide, who do we want to be? Where are we going? Get them on board with you. Engage them in a different way. Leadership is simple, but it's not easy. It requires you to invest at the level at which you expect success. If your organization can't afford to invest in your leaders and you're just trying to pad the bottom line, good luck with that, right? Because studies show that highly emotional, intelligent leaders, leadership who receive training and development, effective training and development, have organizations that have better bottom lines. What are you waiting for? This is 2022. The leadership strategies and tactics of the past are not working today. In case you haven't noticed, the workforce is different and they're demanding something different. Give your leaders the tools and resources they need to help you as an organization and to fulfill your mission. Without it, they can't. They can't help you, and you will be feeling the effects of it.
I love it. Thank you so much. Carl, you want to close this out today?
Yeah, it's like bomb. I'm looking for something to drop, like my man Usama. I'm just looking for something to drop because this episode was definitely dynamic and it definitely puts you or should have shifted your mindset about where you are in leadership and the part of just that you are the leader of you. So if they didn't put it on your door, it's not on your desk, no one's calling you that, and you haven't ran into that as an official title, you are still the leader of you. And these same choices and tips that she's giving should begin at that level. Then you can carry that on. So when people start promoting you, you already ahead of the game and
Yeah.
you'll be above the grind. I thank y'all for showing up. Appreciate everybody who dropped in the comments. Please, for those who checking out hashtag replay, we pay attention to you. We love you as well. Put it in there so we can engage with you. We can go back and answer your questions. Also, go look up Rhonda. Our stuff is around there. We're going to put her links in as well. So go look her up. Go check out this academy because it is something that I think we all could be a part of. Ain't nothing like learning the right way. Like learning. So we appreciate y'all and we love y'all. Thanks, Rhonda. And Rhonda, you know we gotta do part two. I almost forgot that
Of
part.
course, of
That's usually
course.
Charlene part. Always with the
She
part two.
already mentioned what we're gonna talk about in part two, so
Yes, we got an outline
I
already.
know
We
you're the
got an
note
outline already.
taker.
Yes, we already got an outline. I know Charlene been working on the notes. I've been working in the comments. Yo, we love you guys though. True love, true peace, real talk. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Real Talk with Carl and Charlene. Real talk for the real world. Let's get it.